These are the hands of a farm worker, thick, rough, with calloused skin. These hands belong to 37-year-old Rodolfo. He is one of nearly 25,000 farm workers in San Diego County, keeping the agriculture industry alive and well. Over 1.4 million crop farm workers like Rodolfo help plant, harvest, and pack the food grown throughout the United States.
Ha habido muchas ocasiones que así y mejor se van solos, pues viendo que no, a unos sí llenan un ven, dos o tres, y ellos no pueden llenar uno, y pues se van solos ellos.
If you look at the type of work that the farm workers do for us here in the community, they work in very stressful environments, in conditions that you and I would probably not survive very long. In the fact that when it's very warm, they're having to pick crops. When it's very cold, they're having to pick crops. So it's a very, very tough job. And unfortunately, a lot of these farm workers do not have health insurance. So if they do need health care, the clinic has always been a place that they can come to receive those services.
Like Rodolfo, many farm workers come back and forth from faraway places, mostly from Mexico and other parts of Latin America. Rodolfo, like many, left his family behind.
Pues toda la familia se extraña mucho, pero pues por ellos estamos aquí.
In December of 1997, workers like Rodolfo caught the eye of world-renowned photographer Sebastião Salgado. His stunning images were featured in Rolling Stone magazine, where he set out to show the world what he called the forgotten people. Salgado wanted to remind everyone of the economic contributions farm workers make to this country every day.
Y gracias a ellos tenemos comida en nuestras mesas, tenemos fruta, tenemos verduras, a costa de su trabajo, de su salud.
Aside from harsh working conditions, an average farm worker today earns just under $10,000 a year.
Aquí en California, el trabajo agrícola es el que contribuye más dinero a la nación, ¿verdad? ¿Y por qué? Porque son los sueldos menos pagados y la gente que tiene los más bajos ingresos, tanto de monetario como para su supervivencia.
According to one national study, farm work is one of the most hazardous occupations in the country. For every 5 male farm workers, one will have 2 of 3 high-risk factors for chronic diseases, which includes high cholesterol, high blood pressure, or obesity. Most farm workers access medical services at their local community clinic, since the majority of their services are offered at a sliding scale or at no cost.
We see your seasonal colds and flus, and that's one of the things that we probably see more of because of the conditions that a lot of these workers live in, because they are living outside, so they're exposed to some of the environmental changes that we face with the weather.
In San Diego, we have a lot of people who live in migrant camps. And what some people don't realize about migrant camps is that it's not just a hodgepodge of random people that come together and live in these conditions, whether it be under a bush or in the trees in a grove someplace.
Y ahí nos salió la víbora, por si no lo veo nos pica.
In order to meet some of the farm workers' health needs, Vista Community Clinic provides health education in the agriculture fields and offers free transportation to the clinics to farm workers who would otherwise go without medical care. In 2000, 70% of farm workers in California were still uninsured.
Tenemos familias que tienen años trabajando con algún patrón, con algún dueño de un rancho, mas sin embargo no les da un seguro médico.
Again, we only have 8 to 10 minutes, so we want to make sure that we're strategically.
The Farm Worker Care Coalition emerged in 2004 as a collaborative effort of the Vista Community Clinic, the National Latino Research Center at California State University San Marcos, and Community Housing Works, with a vision to improve living, working, and health conditions of the farm worker community. The collaborative that began with less than 5 organizations has now grown to 54 member organizations.
We really found that there was a need to connect all of the groups serving the farm worker population. We were much more coordinated in our efforts, much more aware of some of the situations that the groups were facing. So when we were having a tremendous cutback on farm work, and there were so many farm workers who were hungry or who were cold, or if there was an encampment that was destroyed, which has happened multiple times, and all of their possessions were destroyed along with it, then we could step in and do humanitarian relief and aid to this group of folks who are highly underpaid, highly exploited in many ways, and very vulnerable in our community.
3 años de esfuerzo confiando en poder popular.
In 2005, the Farm Worker Care Coalition launched Poder Popular program, a community-building civic engagement initiative aimed at improving farm worker conditions. Coalition members trained farm workers, men and women within the farm worker community, to become líderes comunitarios, or community leaders. The goal was to train them to engage in their communities and create change. They now serve as liaisons between the Farm Worker Care Coalition and North County farm workers and their families.
Bueno, empezamos aquí mismo en estas oficinas. En el 2005 se formó el primer grupo. El grupo se formó con personas de aquí mismo, residentes de estos mismos complejos, porque todas las personas que vivimos aquí, la mayoría de los residentes de estos complejos son trabajadores del campo.
Originally, when we started Poder Popular, there was only 3 sites, which was Oceanside, Fallbrook, and Pala. And we have expanded from 3 sites and 20 líderes to over 100 líderes in 9 sites.
Empezamos a tomar entrenamientos como entrenamientos de liderazgo, entrenamientos de salud, o sea, en diferentes temas. Y una vez ya que tomamos entrenamientos, salimos a la comunidad a identificar qué más necesidades había.
The líderes were especially instrumental during the 2007 San Diego wildfires, when the farm workers and their families were cut off from getting crucial information about emergency evacuations and receiving other badly needed resources.
Aquí nos tomó por sorpresa, nadie nos esperábamos que nosotros nos iba a tocar y no estábamos preparados y nos la vimos muy difícil para saber qué podíamos hacer para salir sanos y salvos de aquí. Y después de esa experiencia tan dura que tuvimos, pensamos que era importante informarnos y prepararnos en caso de que volviera a suceder.
The Farm Worker Care Coalition has since developed a disaster preparedness plan for the farm worker communities.
During the fires, farm workers experienced huge barriers to information about evacuation. The community and agencies serving the community during disaster need to be trained as well on how to be culturally sensitive to the special circumstances of farm worker communities.
The coalition has also built partnerships with nationally recognized organizations like the American Red Cross. Training residents on how to be better prepared for disasters. Earlier this year, the Farm Worker Care Coalition conducted a real-life emergency evacuation drill.
So one of the points that she brought up is she would like to receive more information as she was registering.
Coalition members set up a makeshift command center at a local community center.
Into the shelter, let them know what was happening, and especially for some of the first groups that were here, initially they
transformed a church gymnasium into an American Red Cross center to serve mock victims and evacuees. Their goal was to test the transportation, resources, and communication among Farm Worker Care Coalition members and other partners in hopes of avoiding the chaos of the 2007 wildfires. Through efforts like these, the Farm Worker Care Coalition continues to provide hope for farm workers like Rodolfo, farm workers who are grateful to have work, yet seldom think about the dangers of their job or the consumers who benefit from their labor. The farm worker community in North San Diego is an integral part of the local economy, but continues to be an invisible workforce that labors for minimum wage and is living in inadequate conditions. The Farm Worker Care Coalition strives to meet the unique needs of this population in hopes of diminishing the challenges they encounter every day. Although great strides have been made through the efforts of the Farm Worker Care Coalition, there is much more to be done. The Farm Worker Care Coalition invites you to join La Lucha to help fulfill its mission.